think it does inform part of it, because if you're just someone that, okay, this isn't to be rude to anybody that I know, but I'm just saying, if you don't do anything, I don't know.
Then that's almost like showing whatever you do.
Thank you.
You're showing your contribution, and if that's lacking, then what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us on Can We Just Talk's Dating Chronicles, where we'll be discussing all things dating with some guest couples. You're tuned in to episode 1, Dating with Purpose. We hope you really enjoy it.
So guys, welcome to Can We Just Talk. This is our Dating Chronicles edition. So just thank you guys for being a part of it. We've been asked by so many people to do a similar series to what we've been doing already, but more focused on dating and kind of pre-marriage. So we've asked a number of couples, and you guys are our first one. So thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of it.
Thank you for having us.
No, it's been really, really appreciate it. So, Jonathan, if you want to start with a word of prayer, and then we'll just straight in.
All right, let's bow our heads. Dear Father, thank you for allowing us all to be here and giving us the means to be able to communicate and conversate with each other. Please guide the conversations. We have a few things that we can go through and that we plan to go through. Help us to go through the ones which will touch someone or will have some sort of meaning to somebody. Bless us, Lord, and again, guide this conversation. In your holy precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Right, guys. So, do you want to tell us just, like, obviously we know you, but do you want to just tell some of our viewers, like, a little bit about yourselves?
Tell them about the great city that you're from.
Wolverhampton.
About us, well, we're Jermaine and Nicole, I suppose. Mr. and Mrs. Sanderson, which I don't really hear much.
That's right.
But yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Sanderson, and we have been married for, well, it's July, so 3 years. 3 years this July. It's been an interesting journey. We kind of don't really count the first year at all, but that's another story for another time, I suppose. But yeah, 3 years we've been married. Should we tell them what we do? I mean, I work in the city. I deal with complaints basically for students. So I work for a company called the Office of the Independent Adjudicator for Higher Education. So just like student complaints and trying to sort all the issues out between them and the universities. Very exciting and interesting, but yeah, that's kind of what
some of the complaints with new students.
Oh, you'd be surprised at the amount of complaints we have and the types of complaints that people have. It's absolutely, like, you could get stuff about, oh, there's been like noise outside my door and I don't know who it is, to things like full blown like assault. So just depends what student we get that day, but yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and I work in construction at the moment. Been doing it for a couple of years now. Just working alongside a crane. I don't want to explain it because you probably wouldn't understand. But yeah, it's quite physical. And then we both
looking so broad.
No, man, no. I've lost a bit of it actually. But yeah, man, it's fun. And we both do music as well. She's more of the celeb than me. Like, yeah, we both enjoy music as well. Man.
I would say you finish what you're saying. Jermaine is the celebrity. Nah. He's the one that's won the award shows and, you know, gone to all of these, like, I haven't been on TV like that.
Yeah, but she's on the BBC every Sunday, you know.
Well,
on radio. Yeah, on radio. This has been for ages now, but that's another story.
Behaviours, that's what that is. A-lister behaviours.
Don't want to tell anyone. Don't want to
I'm going to send you guys a T-shirt, so you can sign it the back and the front.
I want you to sign my Bible.
I think this is what it's going to be like. I hope you guys are prepared.
That's fine. So guys, thank you so much. We've got a couple of questions. We just want to, like Jonathan was saying, when like there's people watching that, you know, might have questions and just not know who to ask. people are going through things. We all go through things. Sometimes you can feel isolated and like you're the only one that's in that situation, but actually, you know, there's so many other people that are having that experience. So yeah, I think one of the things that we wanted to touch on first was what age do you think you should start dating with purpose? I know when in our situation we started dating, I was 20 turning 21, and Jonathan very much was quite direct. I've mentioned it before, like what is this? And I think at that stage, personally, that was early for me, and I just thought, oh wow, like it almost gave me a bit of a check. But then, you know, there are people that choose to wait a little bit longer. So what age do you think?
You see, now I don't know about you guys, but I learned about dating from watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. See, because I was watching Fresh Prince just the other day, and I thought, oh my goodness, like everything about what he's doing. I remember like trying to move like that to girls, or thinking like it's simple to talk to girls. You know, you just drop a few bars. So everyone's kind of, and then like I'm thinking the ages I was watching that, so like the 80s. So I'm dating from like young, from like 12 years old, and like.
Yeah, but with purpose.
Purpose.
So we're not with purpose, but that's kind of like how I learned.
What? Yeah.
So there never was actually any purpose, because Will Smith had girl after girl after girl after girl. So purpose, I think you're gonna talking about your late ages where you start to like understand and separate things.
Yeah, it's
like, do we have to define what purpose is? Because
okay, yeah, so
some people, purpose is okay, so we're going to get to the point where we can move in together. Some people are like, it's marriage, straight up. Purpose is marriage. Like,
it's down to the individual.
I think it depends.
It's hard because like I can't give you a real definitive age and stuff, because everyone's got their own way of upbringing, and you get me, and their own personality and character, which will shape how they date, and you get me, if they ever date.
Yeah. I would have to agree, definitely. But I would also say that there comes a point where, like, you have to decide, like, do I want to waste time? Because I'm the type of person, I don't like to waste time. So I like to know what we're doing and where we're going.
Yes, we know.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So for me, I prefer to know, like, so that we know where, it's like you're in a car. Like, you kind of know the destination that you're going to. So the journey is slightly different. If you're just driving around and you're just sort of aimlessly going, like, it kind of changes you as a person. It changes what you experience.
It's a hard one, man.
It depends. I don't think there's an actual age, because I also don't think you should get married at a certain age. I actually disagree with that too. I think it's down to the person and their experiences at the time.
Yeah.
So... yeah,
because I've got a friend who's been dating for time, you get me, and I feel sorry for.
Don't mention the name.
Nah, well, I feel sorry for like I feel sorry for the girl, you get me, because like he hasn't popped the question, you get me, and I'm like, are you just shook, or like after a couple of years now?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, after 2 years, like 2 years is long for me, I think, if you ain't married, because it's like what you're doing, you get me, so like. Everyone's different, but... And
I also think, and I'm trying not to contradict myself, but I also think that you shouldn't date without a purpose, actually, because it's going to dictate, again, what you do, how you do it, the decisions you make, where you go, how long you spend there, who you speak to, like, it...
Might as well just have a fling, you get me?
Yeah. I don't know.
Entanglement?
No entanglement. That's another story. But then I suppose it goes to the other question that usually comes with this, which is like, should you really date for fun?
Not really.
Should you?
Technically.
Why not? Why not?
You got to test the waters.
Sorry, like... can I just ask, did you date for fun? Before you answer this,
but
actually...
But this is another thing, because like, it depends on your upbringing. That like, my mum was like, you get me, bang on the word of God and stuff, but... Anytime I was around my dad's and that, I was doing what I want, you get me? Yeah. So like, I was just... I
wasn't around those times, I just want to say. So
I was just dating around and messing around, you get me? But purpose, I do believe there is an age, whatever age it is, where you think, nah, I've got to mature and saddle up now, you get me? If I want a family and do this and that, you get me? Because like those men who've had variety of girl for time, to stop and have one girl is like, you get me? It's a challenge all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like they have to pattern themselves up to, you get me? Be ready for that, you get me? It takes a certain mindset.
Yeah, I think for me, like the whole dating for fun, I think my experience is, I always imagined, because my parents got married young, and they're from a generation where it was quite normal to like go out with someone and 6 months down the line you're planning a wedding, and the following 6 months you're married and you were 20, and that's normal. So for me, I think anytime I did go out with someone, in the back of my mind I thought, maybe I'll marry this person. And it was never like, oh, this person is perfect for me for like long-term future. It was never that. It's just the fact that I was in a situation almost made me think, this is the person I'll marry.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because of like what you were saying, because that's what I've seen, because that's what that generation and the people in my family have done.
Yeah.
You know, and I just thought, oh, okay, this is fine. This is who I'll marry. And then when it comes to an end, I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus, because I don't know how that would have gone. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think. Like you said, it is.
Do you feel it took you long to kind of break that cycle of thinking that way whilst dating? Like, did you learn from previous relationships, like, I can't just think I'm going to possibly marry every single person? Depending, I'm not saying you dated bad people, I'm just saying.
So, like, I think after, like, the second time, I just thought, I'm picking badly here. So then I was more conscious of seeking for a life partner. And it came to a point where I just thought, I can't pick clearly. I think after like the second or third time, I thought, I'm no good at this. And I literally just said, Lord, I'm putting it in your hands. I'm done trying. I'm done trying to figure this out because I don't have the answers. I actually had that conversation. And then he came along. So clearly God was like, I got you.
You the man.
You know what? I've got kind of a strong opinion on the whole dating thing, because I think if we were guided more as young people to maybe get into marriage and serious relationships and marriage at a younger age, it would basically annihilate all the problems that we do have when we start getting married at 20 and 30, 35.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Totally agree. And
I mean, look.
Yeah, go on.
No, I'm just saying, like, look at some of the other countries where they're youths, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting married.
Yeah.
They're like, we underestimate the youth. Say again.
Do you think you know enough, though, at a young age to... Because I hear your point, and I do agree to some extent.
But you better agree.
I remember with someone when I was 17, and his parents came round to my parents' house, and the dad spoke to my dad and said, I think we should encourage them to get married. And my dad was like, what? She's 17. I don't think we should do that. And he was a pastor, and he's like, I think that's the right thing to do. And I was absolutely horrified. I thought, that would be amazing. I think personally, I wasn't there.
No, I understand that. I definitely think it depends on the individual, but I also think there's a massive misconception that somehow older means wiser. And I really think that we have to be careful, and because I don't think we balance it the other way in church. Everything is, you've got plenty of time before you need to start, and it's like, plenty of time, but what? Hold on a second. What am I doing in between that time? Yeah, to do what in between that time? So I think there was a lot of fear, I think, from our parents' generation as well. And I think that, unfortunately, in some cases has kind of been passed down to us. because we then see marriage as this thing that you then attain to. But actually, marriage is more about you deciding to basically do life with this person. And life could be university, technically. Life could be all these other things. And you're learning as you go along. Because us being married, I didn't know everything at all. I've learned like loads in the first few years of marriage, which I would never have known had I not been married. So I think there's a difference between, and I think, yeah, it's just about maturity. That's just what I think across the board. I don't even think you can put an age on it. I think it's just about maturity and maturity of mindset and wisdom. That's what's important. And I think ultimately, if we go back to the original plan, which is, you know, God is going to let us know, because I genuinely believe that still happens in 2020. God will let you know whether this is the right person or not.
Tell him your story.
My story is wild. I don't even know where to begin. Even like before I met Janine, like, oh my gosh.
She was a wild one.
No, it wasn't a wild one. I was just...
Jermaine the lion tamer. Jeez.
I just think that, honestly, and I know that this might be something we'll discuss later on, but I really feel that God is literally waiting for you to ask him for his help. And I think he's the type of God that doesn't overbear and is like, you know, this is the person for you. No, I think there are options. And he's like, you know, if you choose this person, there are options. But I ultimately think God will let you know. Yeah, he can let you know.
Let me just say one thing. That tends to be the problem. Like, even though we do give things to God, the majority of people, you'll hear them pray and say, like, Lord, I pray that you know, help this relationship to work, or help this, when even anything else, help this job to flourish. And that, instead of giving your will to God and saying, is this who you want for me? You get me? Is this what you want for me? That's what people should be doing, really. But instead, they make the choice. And even if they're a bit iffy, they're like, yo, Lord, man, just, you know, I want this, and man, I want this to work.
And even with that prayer, you have to be prepared for him to say no. But most people are not. They're not prepared for him to go, sorry, but no, that's not the person. That's me. We're not prepared sometimes. And I think until you're at a stage where it's like, Lord, let your will be done, because ultimately, you know, whoever he has for you is going to be the best for you. You know, you're going to be in this situation where you're always trying to work things out and suss things out. And
but some might say it's a bit of a catch-22, you know, with this data thing, because they say, like, well, you learn certain lessons through going through dating, you get me? True. Even though God would rather you just have the one partner, you get me? But either way, you're going to learn something. Like, but some people would argue it's a catch-22 because of that reason. It's the same with marriage, though. You won't know certain things until you're married, you get me?
That's true. Because that's the thing. When Nicole was almost saying that people, you kind of pushed that when you marry, you should be the finished article by the point you get married. Yeah. But it doesn't happen like that.
It's that whole notion actually sets you up for failure. That's what I genuinely think. Because you could forever be running to try and be a perfect version of what? To who? For what? Like, when does it end? Where does it end? You know, so
who's the standard as well? That's another thing, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not ready, and that's what will put people off. You're not ready by whose standard? Because, like, we've all like agreed, it's about learning and growing, and like you said, doing life with someone, and that's all the different life stages.
Yeah.
I need to do uni first. I need to have this much in my bank. I want to have a mortgage.
Mercy.
Like, when are you gonna checked
and
off?
This is the thing.
There, when you get to the end of that list.
Yeah, be honest though. Do you feel like any pressure from parents or anything to just be settled by a certain age? Like,
yeah, of course.
Did you?
Yeah, so my dad was asking me about grandchildren and stuff from you, and he was like, I'll go get married. I'll go get married and give you the grandchildren. From young, so I feel like there was always that pressure, and then you guys probably know, you get married and everyone wants to know when your first one is.
Yeah.
Don't know when your second one is. Then it's like, oh, you need a girl.
Oh. Yeah. I've had that bare times, you get me? Because I'm quite a rebel, you get me? I'll do what I want.
Yes.
But like,
you know.
But like, because my mum was like, she wasn't well. Like, I felt more of a I was ready to settle down, but in my head I was like, I'll just do it when I want to, get me.
Yeah.
But like that gave me a bit more of an incentive, to be honest. So I was like, oh, she needs to be here to at least see me married, you get me? Yeah, if it wasn't for that, Nick knows it probably would have been a bit late. She probably would have been waiting a bit longer still.
No, I would not have been waiting longer, because you assume I would have still been there. You would assume I'd still be there, yeah?
Ah, you would have been there.
Assume I would have still been around.
Mate. You would have been there.
Okay, right.
So I'll put my money on Nicole, to be honest.
To be fair.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
Come on, man. We both got locked through this together, fam.
So guys, what's your view? Like, we're talking about finding the one. Where's the one? And you know, yes, we should ideally be waiting for God to put that person in front of us. Where are we going to find that person?
That's a very good question.
People just confused, like, you know, I don't want to move to another city or another country, and therefore I'm going to have to find somebody in Birmingham within this radius, because this is where my family are, this is where I want to live. Other people will go far and wide. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, firstly, I just want to say you're less likely actually to find them in church. People feel that is the only place to find. I know that's a bit of a thing but you are actually less likely to find the person in church. I'm just saying, especially in your own church as well. Like, you have to, and I think it goes back to, what are you doing in your life? Are you literally just waiting around for the person to walk the door, or
Just
do
appear.
you have stuff in your life to do? Are you active? Are you busy? Are you involved? Are you, like, I really think that we have to get away from this notion, because as much as we say God will provide the person for you, I don't genuinely think he's literally going to go like right there, but like, no. But at the same time, I think,
don't underestimate it.
well, he might do. That's true. That's true. He might do that. He might choose to do that.
Yeah, because he works mysteriously.
He does. This is true. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, because I'm sure people are going to say, yeah, but we've heard that all the time. People always say, you know, but what does that actually mean?
But when you speak to them, they ain't doing nothing. They're active.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah. You need to be active, because with me,
go on.
Yeah, with me, like, I was just looking in my hometown and not finding nothing to my kind of satisfaction, as it were, you get me? You don't need to know reasons. Like, so like, I woke up one day and I was like, I ain't got nothing to lose, you get me? Rejection. So I was just like, I was on Facebook, just anyone I saw that I liked.
Stunning, you know.
Yeah, man was firing questions point blank, you get me?
Levels.
You know it isn't.
I'm making sure.
Yeah. So like with me, it was that and alongside prayer, you get me? Because I do believe like God will tailor your needs and your tastes and everything, and you'll just know. God will make you know, you get me? This is the one. Yeah. But then you're like, it goes back to the mindset as well, as you being ready to settle down and stuff, and that I don't feel that you can do that fully on your own. You need God's help, because like everyone could potentially be the one. You get me?
If you're looking.
Yeah, if you're looking, you'll find something in someone else. You get me? So like I always say to guys, like the guys will be like, oh, you don't look at other girls and blah blah. I say, Nick knows, like there's beautiful girls everywhere, but I would
be naive to think that he doesn't find other people attractive.
Yeah,
of course he does.
There's beautiful bodies everywhere. God's an artist, you get me? But you get me? With them, I know what I've got with Nick, you get me? At the end of the day. That's your mindset has to be in a certain place, man, seriously. And you need God's help, because as we're born into sin, as sinful beings, will naturally want these other things. You can't lie to yourself and say, you get me, you're not drawn to these other things. The closer you get to God, then you won't be as drawn, you get me? But the devil's on it second by second, you get me?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I just going back to obviously the original question about like, where should we actually look? I actually don't think you should go out and be looking. I think you should just be out and about, visiting, getting to know people, you know. Social. We have, as much as, you know, we talk about church, but actually church, we have a lot going on. your church is not the only church that has stuff going on. Like, go and visit people, and don't be afraid to do it on your own. You don't have to have friends on your arm or people with you. Like, be confident and just go on your own. Go and visit, get to know people. And to be honest, I think that's the organic way of really finding somebody, because it's going to be, I suppose, how they look first is going to attract you in the first instance, and then you get to know the person.
Not always.
No, I think always.
That's what my mom used to argue.
No, I think always.
Nah, definitely always.
Yeah, could you just be attracted to personality? With me, I'm like, how are you going to recreate?
You can't say that.
Off the personality.
Like that.
No, you can be, but there's going to be some attraction.
Yeah, I think so.
I love the way you just said it.
But like, you got to have some attraction in it. But like I say, personality might just be the attraction for that person. You know?
Yeah, I'm not here for that. Sorry.
But I've heard people that say that they were attracted, like they had a friend or they knew someone and they really got on, and it was like a personality thing, and they grew to love that person and just find it the most beautiful being. Like, it can happen.
Yeah, it can, but
I worked with a girl recently, and she described her partner as straight ugly. She goes, "Oh, he's ugly."
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
He's ugly looking.
No,
he knows, but I just love him. I was like, "What? Huh?" She goes, "Yeah, look at him." And she showed me the picture, and she's
what
like,
did you say?
She's like, "Look at him," and I was like, "All right,
Didn't even try
no way.
yeah, like straight." But she said she loves him. He does everything for her. She'll do anything for him. She'll never ever want to let him go. And she was like quite deep about the love they have for each other. But it was weird.
I don't know.
Point blank, he's ugly. I was like, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get that.
No.
But if that's your thing, then I suppose
There's someone for everyone in it.
that's the thing.
And he's definitely the person for her. And
Yeah.
I think what you're saying though about being active is so important, because I know somebody that was just like verging on getting into quite a depressive state about their situation, and I'm never going to find anyone, I'm too old, and that, you know, that benchmark by a certain age, I should have done this, and then past that age, and now everything just seemed to be against them. And I was like, so what are you doing about it? Where do you go? What do you do?
I think some of them need wingman, you get me? Because their personality might not be that way. Like, I feel sorry, there are some older people who still haven't found people, you get me? Because
no, I understand
they might not be of that character naturally and stuff, and that's why you have to give certain things to God, you get me? Because it's like,
I agree and I disagree in a way, only because I feel like, because I also have friends who are my age or younger who are like, you know, where's the guy? You know, I haven't seen any guy, no guys coming. And then I look at what they do, and I'll give you a classic example on Sabbath at church. We have fellowship lunch. They're the first in the queue. They don't help to clean up. They sit down, put the plate down, talk to everybody else. They don't do anything. They're not active. If I was a guy and I was looking at a female that potentially I would marry and have in my home, and they're actually active at church, they're serving, they're helping. Do you understand what I'm like? You have to think about, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing? Like,
I agree and disagree, because that's,
what are you doing? Just
because that's what you would look
I'm just
for.
saying. No, but I think it does inform part of it, because if you're just someone that, okay, this isn't to be rude to anybody that I know, but I'm just saying, if you don't do anything, I don't know.
Because then that's almost like showing whatever you do.
Thank you.
You're showing your contribution, and if that's lacking, then what are you bringing to the table? Yeah.
Like I always say to my sisters, like, anyone can look pretty. Like, it's easy to do that. You can put makeup on, you can do hair, you can get a nice outfit, you can do all of that. That's great. Everybody has the ability to do that. But what more do you have? What more is there about you? Are you somebody who is the person checking everybody at church is okay, or everybody? I'm using church as an example, but are you there, you know, in the kitchen, or advice? Like, what are you?
It's stereotypical.
I know. I'm just saying. But what are you doing? Like, what's your active thing?
Involved.
Yeah. It's true.
Just be involved. Be present.
You can cook.
Yeah, that's it. But it's true though, you know, because nobody wants to take a woman home to their parents who can't be homely or have something about it.
I had this one. I was with this one girl. You get me? And she like she burnt her egg. Like she was dead at cooking. My auntie and my mum just be grilling her on the daily, bro. There's like that. Shame for you, man. Shame for you.
Oh wow!
It's not the way. It wouldn't be allowed.
It's not.
But also, I use serving at church because it also demonstrates humility. Somebody who's able to, because there are some people who they don't mind, they just want to help, and that's the type of personality that I would think anybody would want. But then there's others who don't help and see you struggling with bags, because it's for guys as well. I remember bringing bags into church once, and like all these guys were standing there. I'm carrying 2 big bags of my own. Not one said, "Oh, do you want some help?" or "Can I help you carry?" Do you know? It's things like that tell you a lot about the person. To me,
But don't you think?
it's just these are things that people do notice.
But don't you think some of that is because of like how social media and dating on apps and stuff now, where you're not being chivalrous, you're not like opening doors, you're not just going and saying, "Oh, how are you? You're quite pretty. Can I have your number?"
You know what?
Letter through. Like that's all out the window now. It's all about like left and right switch.
Yeah, I think this generation, they've got it easy, man, when it comes to picking someone and just hooking up with someone, but they don't know how to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
You get me? So like, I don't think they have these real conversations on a level with the person they'll meet. You get me? Of like, where do you see yourself going in life, and you get me? What do you want to do? And
like cold, you go into a conversation cold, and you're having to create a conversation out of nothing. And that's something hard to do. That's a life skill.
It is, but then they're not learning the old school skills. You get me? Of having to do the groundwork. You get me? And grafting to get that girl. You get me?
And the thing is, a lot of times,
they're free for all.
People are sending messages, but they'll probably be like, "Oh, do you think should I send this? Do you think this sounds alright?" So it's not even just them sending the message. Inspiring with about 6 friends in a WhatsApp group about how to phrase something.
Yeah, trust me.
And then it's like,
I remember the days when like you'd see a girl and you think, "I'm gonna go and talk to her," then you'd be like, "No, I can't." Then you see her again. So like next week you're thinking, "Wow, like I've seen her that Tuesday at about 5 o'clock. Do you know what? I'm gonna go around the same time again and see if I see. And this time I'm gonna say something, and then boom, or you just give a smile like, "Oh, you alright?" And you kind of walk past. that little bit of ground you get in there, your little bit, because you got the hello, and then the next time you have a conversation on the bus, and like it's a gradual and it's a build up where there's none of that anymore. And I think that's why we lose the whole men just being chivalrous, opening doors, saying thank you. Like seeing ladies struggling with a bag and then just going and helping. Like you don't really, you did back in the day.
Yeah.
That's gone proper slow. Can you guys still see us?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just glitching a bit.
Yeah.
Just leading up from that, there's a question that someone asked me. Someone that I work with, she's a bit younger, and she was like, "You're married, actually. How long?" And then I felt pressure. I was like, "Oh no, what's she gonna ask?" And she's like, "How long should you be talking to someone?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Well, just talking." I said, "As in going out with them, like boyfriend, girlfriend?" She was like, "No, just talking." So I says, "Well, I don't know. I think if it's me, probably 2-3 weeks, and then I want to know more." Like, and she says,
"What's going on?"
So she's like, "Do you think 6 months is too long?"
6 months? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's way too long, ladies.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know. It's a bit naive of me, but I didn't even think talking was something that was even like, because it seems like it's now a stage.
Yeah.
Like talking become a thing of its own before the progression to relationship, before the progression to like serious, before the progression to marriage, and I just
6 months of talking.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Nah, bro, that's.
How's he got so much to say for 6 months?
It's talking, and the talking because I had to inquire because I was just blown away by this talking stage that I didn't know about. Talking is talking to multiple people because you're not quite sure which one's right to go into a relationship with. But from her point of view, she's not the type of person to do that, and she's only talking to him. What kind of talking could you be doing for 6 months, please? Because I don't understand.
So if you're see, it's possibly.
But how do you have
various
time?
people over 6 months.
Yeah.
That's a lot of talking to very different people. How do you keep up with the
I don't think
conversation?
he's got a job.
That's confusion, that is.
You can't have a job.
I mean, no, I don't know what that is. And I think this goes back to the original question about what is the purpose? This is why, if you know what the purpose is, and the thing is, I don't even think the purpose has to be decided jointly. The purpose should be, what is your purpose in this thing that you're doing? Whether you're talking, whether you're dating or whatever, what is the purpose there?
Yeah, but when once you've chatted to that person, like, even after 2 weeks, you're starting to know the score a bit.
Personally, you know, in 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're starting to know the score a bit. Not to say just jump in the relationship, you get me? But you're starting to know if that person's looking likely, you get me? That you could pair up with, you get me? You don't want to be wasting your time for 6 months chatting. That's just talking.
That's mad. It's mad to me.
Yeah.
A new stage. It's, you know.
Yeah. But like I says, this generation, like, they don't know, the most of them don't know how to hold a mature convo, you get me, with the other sex. I've seen it too many times, man.
But just like
so
that.
So then, actually, on that point then, like, what are some of the early conversations you should actually have with the person then, do you think? What should you be talking about in the early stages?
This is the thing. Ideally, you need to be talking about, like, you're not going to go, the settling down and family and, you know, where they're seeing itself.
Or not. I think that's important because some people don't.
Yeah, what do you see in a person and that you want and blah, 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 you get me? You need to have those on a level and you don't want to be skipping around too long, like, so what do you do, you know?
Because I had a friend who said that. I had a friend who said they were dating for 2 years and then all of a sudden they started talking about having kids and he was like, no, I'm not having kids.
Oh.
And she was like,
2 years.
She was like, what?
Yeah. And they didn't have that combo.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to have kids.
It happens too regularly.
And that was the end of the relationship. 2 years wasted because you could have asked that question in the first 6 months even.
See what I mean?
I mean,
we got in quite in-depth conversation.
Imagine being with someone for 5 years, moving into their house, getting engaged, planning a wedding, and saying, you know, within how long do you think we should wait after the wedding to have children for them to say, I'm not interested in children?
But nah.
How's that not been a conversation for 5+ years?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And I always say communication is essential. You get me? Whether it's a friendship or a relationship, like if your communication's weak, like it's gonna start going downhill.
When we first met, we had very in-depth conversations. How many kids? Do you want to get married? Where, you know, what's your view of marriage? We spoke about everything. I think in the first month,
everything,
might have even been 3 weeks. We just wanted to just understand where this thing was going to be going. And then once we set those parameters, then we allowed ourselves to then just get to know each other through the relationship, because we knew that this is, you know, where the person is and what they're thinking. Ultimately, there wasn't really any surprises, to be honest, because we got all of that out at the beginning. I know, like, at the beginning, I asked Jermaine, I was like, so how old like,
hold on, guys. You guys broke up really.
How old are you? Oh, are we back now?
Hold on. Yeah, cool.
So in the beginning, you asked Jermaine how old.
Yeah, I wanted to know how old he was from the beginning. I didn't want to, like, be in this relationship and, like, I wanted to know the first week, wasn't it? I just needed to get that out of the way. But he was a bit apprehensive to tell me. And I was thinking, why do you want to tell me how old you are? Like, what's the problem here, you know?
I thought, here we go again.
But he thought that his age was going to be he thought his age was going to be an issue, but it wasn't for me, because for me, age doesn't really tell you much about the person's level of maturity or who they are, whatever. So, but we got that out of the way, and then after that, it wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't sort of, you know, because can you imagine being in a relationship and you know there's something that person doesn't know about you, and you haven't told them and disclosed it to them, that would be, how can the relationship really flourish in the way it should if you haven't disclosed, if you're holding certain, I don't know about that. Which brings me on to my other experience before I met Jermaine, and how, that whole situation was a bit crazy. My ex was not for me. But I remember having a conversation with him after loads of things, when I found out that he had cheated on me. And I said to him, you know, when were you actually going to tell me? He was just like, on our wedding night. So I was like, right. Wow, thank you. Thank you for that information. Okay. But in his head, he had no intention of telling me before we got married. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Wedding night.
For me, not just the fact that this person is willing to be dishonest, but the fact that they were willing to allow me to get married into a false sense of what the relationship was without telling me something so vital. So that was a long story though, by the way. That was a crazy experience if I met this one, the love of my life.
Jermaine saved her. You saved her.
He did, definitely did. Definitely.
Right. So obviously we've conversated quite a bit, and I think I've learned from you guys as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to ask a quick question. What is the age gap between you two? Pause.
What do you think?
So
what do you guys think?
Genuinely, I didn't think it was a major gap. I thought you. I mean, Nicole in the 30s. Are you in your 30s?
I don't even know.
Yeah, so I turned 30 last year. So Jermaine is closer to 40.
Nah, I'm
than he is to 30.
Yeah, I'm close-ish, yeah.
How old are you?
Have you forgotten how some of our grandparents have like 15, 20 years between them?
Yeah.
Nah, we're 6-7 years gap here.
That's calm.
It's not really.
Nah, you know what it is, you know.
Tell us.
You know, like, I don't know what you think about this, like, and where you are, but a lot of people have in their mind, like, that by a certain age, you have to have kids and that because their ovaries are ticking, you get me? And, you get me? It becomes difficult and that, but I just keep pointing them to, you get me, Abraham and Sarah and stuff like that. Don't worry about it, you get me? But,
don't wait till you're 18.
Well,
but everyone's like, oh, the clock's ticking now. You have to do it now. You get me?
I don't think there's a set age at all. I would never say to somebody, you know, are they over 30? No, like I wouldn't ever say that. I think it's your maturity level. That is it, and your experiences. And yeah, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
You can never be ready for kids, though, the same as marriage, innit? You just have to, once you get into it.
I think it works the other way as well, because some women say they would never date a guy younger than them. But I don't think they should always rule that out. I don't think that should be ruled out at all.
Is that what you wish you did? Yeah.
No.
Is that what you wish you did? Yeah.
Not me. Not me. I'm always teasing him. That's why.
Well, yeah, it's been good, obviously, talking to you guys. And again, I want to really thank you for taking part in it. Should be interesting. I think our screen video wasn't sometimes internet wasn't working too great, so we'll fix it anyway.
Cool.
Anyway, thank you guys so much.
Happy anniversary.
Our anniversary, because their anniversary is the same as ours.
Yeah.
17th.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Pop with you as well.
Yeah, man. Pop 2 super malt together, you get me?
That's it. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching our first episode in our Dating Chronicles series. Don't forget to share your comments, like our Facebook and Instagram pages, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time, guys.